okay? Then, all right, what I'm going to do is I am going to add, so Valentina, now that I can see you, can you just unmute yourself for a second? Did you hear me before?
Yep, yeah, I got everything. I'm caught up.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I measured, so that's why I was a little bit late.
Okay, yeah. Oh, perfect. There. Okay, now I'm back. Okay. So now what I'm going to ask you guys to do is get your 1.5 tablespoons of your dry white wine and mix it with your 6 tablespoons of Marsala wine. So that way you can add it when it's time. Okay. All at once, a little bit at a time. Okay. So I'm just going to move this out of the way here. Okay. So that way it's all ready to go. You don't have to worry about, putting a little bit of white, putting a little bit of the Marsala. It's all mixed together now. The dry white wine with the Marsala wine, okay? Now you want to get your 1 tablespoon of lard, okay? Traditionally, lard is used in this very ancient recipe, okay? Butter wasn't really a thing back in the days when this happened in like the ancient Roman times. So they use what they called strutto, which is Italian for lard, okay? So you just want to grab it with your hands, okay? If you are using butter, that's fine. It's the same amount, okay? And just kind of, break it up a bit and put it into your bowl. It's going to be a little sticky, so just rub a little bit of flour to your hands to take it off, okay? Then you're going to grab your fork, okay? And you're going to blend the lard in with the flour. Just mush it up, okay? So it gets slightly crumbly, okay? Kind of like when you're making a pastry dough, all right? If you've ever made a pastry dough before, okay, you'll know what I'm talking about, okay? You can even grab your hands and do it with your hands if you want to get your hands all messy right now, okay? That's totally up to you, fine and up to you, okay? I'm just going to remove my ring so that way it doesn't get dirty. I suggest if you're wearing any rings, you take them off.
Sorry, how much of the lard in the flour again?
Pardon, sorry?
How much of the lard in the flour?
1 tablespoon of the lard.
What? Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So now that I've got it all mixed in there, okay, you're going to grab your mixture of your white wine, which was 1.5 tablespoons with your 6 tablespoons of Marsala wine, okay? I'm just going to switch it here, okay? And I am going to slowly pour it in and mix it with the fork. You don't want to put it in all at once or you're going to end up with a puddle, okay? You want the flour to absorb the liquid a little bit at a time, okay? Okay, and you're going to keep going, okay? And then eventually, once you put in all your liquid, okay, we're going to work it with our hand for a bit, with our hands to knead it all together, okay? Now, like I said before, if you have a home with a fireplace on, okay, that's going to affect your environment that you're working in, meaning that you might have a drier dough. So you might have to add a little bit more liquid. You might have to add a little bit more wine if you want, or you can add some water to it, okay? It should get to a consistency where it's like Play-Doh. I'm sure we've all played with Play-Doh before, okay? So now I got in all my wine, okay? So you have to take that kind of stuff into account. So, sometimes a recipe might say, like I said, 1 cup of flour and so many measurements of liquids, but that's not going to work for you if you have your fireplace on. That's not going to work for you if you live somewhere extremely warm, okay? Alternatively, if you live somewhere where it's winter, you might actually need less liquid, okay? So that's why I always tell people that you have to always take a recipe with a grain of salt, as long as the ingredients are authentic. Okay, that's what matters. It's not so much the measurements. Okay, so now I'm going to work it until I get all the flour sticking together, and then I'm going to go onto my board. Okay, if you find that your dough while you're doing this right now is way too sticky, add just a little bit of flour at a time. Okay, it's easier to add a little than you put too much, because once you put too much, you can't take away, right? Then you're gonna have to start adding more liquid, and then you just basically threw off the ratios by a lot, and then you're gonna be far from the dough that you need. Okay, so I'm gonna put all these little crumbs in here onto my board. Okay, and now I'm gonna work it. Okay, just like if you were working, a bread dough, a pasta dough. Okay, And just keep going and working it till you get something, like I said, that's like Play-Doh, soft and smooth. You might need to add a little flour, dust it onto your surface so it doesn't stick if you find that it's sticking to your board, okay? And just work it like the way I'm doing. So what you do is you get the palm of your hand and you push it in and pull it forward and then pull it back, okay? And rotate, okay? Okay, and then once we're done, okay, and it's like Play-Doh, it's soft, it's smooth, it's not dry, it's not crumbling, okay, it's not so sticky. See, like it's not sticking to my hands, okay, it should not be sticking to my hands, okay. We're gonna wrap it in plastic wrap and then we're gonna put it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes, okay. We might be able to get away with 15. Traditionally, it's supposed to be an hour, okay? But for the purpose of this lesson, we're going to cut it down to about 30 minutes, okay? Maybe 15, we'll see, okay? We need it to firm up a bit because if we were to try and roll this out right now, okay? One, it's going to pull back because whatever little bit of gluten that has developed in here from the flour needs to relax, okay? Just like if you were to make pasta or pizza dough, if you try to roll it out right away, it's going to pull back. There's going to be resistance, okay? That's because the gluten is angry, okay? It wants a chance to relax. It's saying to you, hey, you worked me out a lot. Can you please relax now? No, give me a break, right? Okay? So my dough is nice and good, okay? I'm going to hold it up and I'm going to show you guys what it should look like, okay? You can just roll it into a ball, okay? So it's going to look like this, okay? All right, it's got a nice brown color to it, okay? And then I'm going to put it in my saran wrap here, okay? And I'm going to wrap it. And then what I like to do to make it easier for later is I kind of push down on it so that when I have to roll it out, it's already into a disc, okay? Because this is going to get firm in the fridge, okay?
I have a question about texture.
Yes.
So it's not sticky. It is
Okay.
soft. And it is bouncy, but the texture itself is very lumpy. Is that normal?
Okay, that's fine, okay? It's just like, you know, when you've made the pasta dough before with the semolina flour, it didn't look super smooth, but then as it relaxed, it got smooth.
Okay.
Okay?
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Okay, so now that I have it like a disc, okay, I'm going to go pop it into my fridge and I'll be right back, guys. All right. I just grabbed a little bit of flour for later. Put that over there. Okay. Oh, sorry. All right, guys. So now, while we're waiting for the dough to relax, okay, we are going to work on the ricotta filling, okay, so that we're not just here waiting around, okay? So, if you guys need me to slow down, you haven't caught up yet, let me know, okay? I don't want to rush anybody or have anybody fall behind, all right? Okay, so 2 1/3 cup of ricotta cheese, okay? It's very important to always drain your ricotta cheese, okay? And the reason why is because it has a lot of water content in there, right? If you work with it without draining it, when you go and add your icing sugar to it, you're just gonna have like a very runny cream, okay? It has to be thick and firm enough that it doesn't run out of the cannoli shell, okay? Now, not all ricottas are made equally, okay? So some might have more water, some might have less. It depends if you buy it fresh from your cheesemonger or if you buy it from the store, okay? I find when you buy from your cheesemonger, it tends to have a lot more water, so it's always best to let it drain it overnight in your fridge, not on the counter, okay? I find the ones from the store are a lot drier, okay? And then there's ones that are creamy and there's some that are grainy, okay? So you always want to try and get one that looks the creamiest, okay? Now, traditionally, it's made with ricotta made from sheep's milk, okay? when you go to Italy, specifically Sicily, that's what you're going to get is your ricotta from the sheep, okay? Here, that's very hard to find, okay, unless you know someone who specializes and does that. So about 99% of the time, the ricotta cheese that you're buying is made from cow, okay? Also, it's not directly milk from the cow. So what it is the leftover weight from when they make cheese, okay? So when they make cheese from the milk, right, they do their process, they collect the curds, and then they use that to process and mold into whatever cheese they're gonna make. The leftover liquid, okay, which is called the whey, whatever little bit of remaining curds might be left in there is what they use to turn into ricotta cheese. So I'm not sure if you guys know this, but ricotta is actually not really considered to be a cheese for that reason, because it's made with the whey, okay? So they say ricotta cheese, but it's not really considered to be a cheese by cheese standards, okay? So you're gonna get your ricotta, okay? Now, if you want to put in some vanilla, you can put in the vanilla. If you don't want to put in vanilla, that's fine. I know some people are impartial to that taste, okay? So it's 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, okay? Now, the next thing about the ricotta is some might have more of a strong flavor, some not so much. So depending on that, you might need to use a little less of your icing sugar. Also, it's on preference. How sweet do you like it? Some people might not like it too sweet, so you're not going to use all the 1.5 cups, which again brings me back to having to adjust a recipe according to your taste. Just because it says 1.5 cups doesn't mean you have to do that. So if you're someone who likes your cannoli filling not too sweet, I suggest by adding a little bit at a time and then taste testing it with a spoon till you get to the level of sweetness that you prefer, okay? Some might like it super sweet and might actually add more than 1.5 cups, all right? So add a little bit at a time and taste test it till you get to the level that you like, okay? However, before you put in the icing sugar, the same thing, whisk it to break up any lumps, okay? Because icing sugar does have the tendency to lump and clump up, okay? And you don't want to bite into your ricotta filling and get a lump of, icing sugar, okay? So we're going to put that in. I'm going to start with a little bit at a time, okay? So I have just about half a cup, okay? And then I'm going to taste test it and see if I like it, okay? And, just work it with your whisking, okay? And then we're going to get the spatula and turn it around, okay?
How much icing sugar? Sorry. How
So,
much?
as I was saying, okay,
Yeah.
start off by putting a little bit at a time. You might not need the full 1.5 cup. You want to do it to the level of sweetness you like. So start off with half a cup, taste test it. If you want it sweeter, add a little bit more, okay? And you're going to mix that around, okay? Now, traditionally, okay, you'll get, especially in Italy, you'll get your filling with some pieces of pistachio. Sometimes you'll get it with candied fruit. Sometimes you'll get it with pieces of chocolate, okay? If you want to put some in, that's up to you. I know a lot of people like it smooth and creamy and just want to have the other element on the outside, okay? If you want to split this in half and have some smooth and creamy and then have the other half of your filling with some pistachios or some grated chocolate, that's fine as well, okay? So I'm going to try my filling now to see if I like that level of sweetness, okay? So the small little tasting spoon, okay? I'm going to add a little bit more, okay? I like it a little sweeter. This is now dirty, goes there. So I'm going to add just a little bit more, okay? And then, like I said, keep going, okay?
Mommy,
Yes, babe? That's just my son, guys.
I'm so tired.
You're tired. This kid's tired. Okay, and whisk it around, okay? And you should see, okay, the icing sugar helps to make it creamy, okay?
I think we need to see Matthias, Lisa.
Matthias, you want to come? He's like, no, thank you. He'll pop in at some point. He always pops in. Okay, and whisk it around, and then again, try and see, okay? How you like it. Okay, and I'm going to try with another clean spoon, okay? We always want to be very hygienic, okay, especially during these days. Okay, guys, for me, that's good. Okay, so I used, okay, maybe about just under a cup. And for me, that's good, okay, because I like it to still have that, you know, kind of cheesy taste to it. All right, that's what makes cannoli great, is that you get that cheesy taste to it, but you get that slight creaminess, right? Okay, and now,
Lisa,
yep,
so mine's like a little gritty. It doesn't feel that smooth.
okay, so it's probably the type of ricotta cheese that you bought, as I was saying before. Some might be gritty and some might be smooth. It depends on your brand and so forth on, okay? So now that you know about this type of ricotta that you bought, next time try a different brand, okay? Sometimes on a container, it might say creamy, okay? If you find one that says creamy, that's always your best bet, okay? All right, guys. So there's a point that I also want to bring up about the icing sugar, okay? Some recipes might call for sugar and not icing sugar, okay? The reason why I suggest icing sugar over regular granulated sugar is for the fact that the icing sugar is guaranteed to blend and melt within the ricotta, whereas the granulated sugar may not. And then you're going to have that taste of granulated sugar in your mouth, and you don't want that. You don't want to taste, you know, granules of sugar, okay? So, and in essence, icing sugar is granulated sugar that has been processed into a fine powder. So if you're ever in a situation where you don't have any icing sugar and a recipe calls for it, you can just grab some granulated sugar, put it into a food processor, and process it, okay? Until it becomes like icing sugar. Okay, so now that we've done that, okay, I'm gonna get my ricotta filling and I'm gonna put it in the fridge, okay, to keep it cold, okay? You don't want it to get warm, okay, then it's gonna spoil. And I will be right back. All right. I'm just going to clean up my space a bit, and then I'm going to talk to you guys about measurements of cannoli and the forms and all that other jazz, okay? So you guys can understand what it is that I'm talking about when I say that, you know, a recipe says cut it 4 inches, but, you know, it might be too big or too small for your cannoli form, okay? So we're going to get into that as well. I am just going to go clean this up first so that I can focus here for you guys. Okay. Okay. So, is everyone done their ricotta filling and up to speed before I start? Because I don't want to get you guys all confused and you're doing too many things at one time, okay? So, you know, in the meantime, if you need to grate your dark chocolate, go ahead. If you need to mash up your pistachios, go ahead. You can do that as well, okay? So now, okay, I'm going to explain to you guys what I was talking about, okay? So not all cannoli forms are made the same, okay? You know, you're going to get ones that are super big and jumbo. You're going to get ones that are a little bit tinier. So you're going to have to work your dough to, when you cut it out to a size that is good for the size of your cannoli form, okay? So like for instance, here in the recipe, it says 4 inches in diameter, okay? So I'm going to give you guys an example, okay? This here is 3 inches in diameter, my cookie cutter here, okay? What I'm going to do is grab my cannoli form, okay? And I'm going to put it on top like this, okay? Now, I'm going to show you guys. If you look, right? If I were to wrap this around, okay? This is the perfect size for my cannoli form, okay? The 3 inches. 4 inches for the size of my form would be too big, okay? This here is about 5 inches, okay? This is way too big, okay? So you're going to have to adjust the size of your circles, okay, when you cut them out to fit your cannoli form, okay? So this is where you're going to have to use judgment, which is why I said, you know, a recipe when you get it off of Google or wherever is going to say, oh, this, and that, okay? It's not by the book, okay? You have to work with whatever tools you have, and you're gonna have to make adjustments, okay? So what you're gonna do is find something circular that's the closest size to fit your cannoli form, okay? So this is an espresso cup, okay? My cannoli forms, all right? Right here it says on the package, okay? It's 5.5 inches long, okay, but just under an inch in diameter here, okay? All right. So this here would also be good. This here was about 4 inches, okay? I could even use this, okay? It's a little bit, maybe slightly too big, but that's fine, okay? Way better than this over here, okay? See, this is way too big for this, okay? When you do it, you still want to be able to see your mold, all right? Or else it's going to be very hard to turn and to handle, and then you're going to crack your cannoli, okay? Alternatively, what you can also do is make your own template if you don't have anything of the right size that you're happy with, okay? So if you don't have the right size, espresso saucer or cutting mold, okay? You can make your own template, all right, out of regular paper or parchment paper, okay? You draw a circle, okay, to the size that you think you need, okay, for your form. Okay, so I drew a circle, right? And then you're just gonna cut it out, and then you're gonna use that after to put on your dough, and with a knife cut out that circular shape and use that to wrap around your cannoli. Okay, so that's another thing as well for you. Okay, so that also is gonna bring me to another point that whenever you work with a recipe that's not your own or that you have never done before, it's very important to always read through your recipe, not once, not twice, but 3 times for good measure. To one, make sure that you understand exactly what it is that you're doing, exactly what it is that you need to adjust, and exactly what it is that you're gonna have to figure out. You might have to Google some answers, some conversions, and whatnot like that. I always tell people that if you don't do that, you're setting yourself up for failure. Have you ever made a recipe and you just try making it off the whim? You're reading it, and then you get to a part, you're like, oh crap, I was supposed to do the other thing first because I didn't read the whole thing through. Okay, that's why you always read a recipe first, okay? Very important, and that will always guarantee success 99% of the time, okay, guys? So, like I said, okay, figure out your cannoli mold situation, all right? Yours might be bigger than mine, so your recipe, you might get less than 16 cannoli. Yours might be smaller than mine, you might get more than 16 cannoli, okay? My molds here are new, okay? I got myself some new ones, a little treat, okay? So I don't know yet how many of these are gonna give me, okay? But if you're doing the 4 inches, you're definitely gonna get 16 cannolis, okay?
A question?
Yes. Sorry, I can't hear you. Can you repeat that? You're muted.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, now
I think I accidentally hit mute. I got these ones that are kind of a weird shape. They're like angled at the ends. I mean, they're kind of like the shape of an actual
for the cannoli.
cannoli.
Yeah, that's fine. So when you cut your circles, once you figure out what size you need, okay, it's going to be the exact same process, okay? Just that it's already in a shape for you, okay? Some of them come like that, some come like this. It's no different, okay? It all depends on brand and supplier, all right? So you're good, you're fine, okay?
So if I try and match up my circle to the longer dimension here.
So what you want to do is go by here, okay? The middle part, okay? So, try and match it up here, because when you do it, you're going to have to overlap the dough a bit to close it and stick it, okay? So it doesn't burst open as you're cooking it, okay? Does that make sense?
It's gonna be
So
more
I'll
like
give you an example, okay? This is what I'm going to do, okay? I'll trace it with this here, just to show you.
I
Yes.
think what Emily is asking is that does she have to match the length of it?
No.
It's just a circle.
As I said before, you want to leave it, okay, till about, you have to have some of the mold sticking out, okay? So that you can pop it out. If you do it so that it's the full entire length of your mold, what might happen is that your mold might become encapsulated in the dough. The dough might cook over it, and then you're not going to be able to take it out, okay? So when you do it, you always want to make sure that you have at least this much, okay?
Okay.
All right, enough that you can slide it out gently without
Okay.
sticking. Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys. So that's that. Does anyone else have any questions? Anything you're unsure of? Okay. All right. So now if you want to grab your pot that you're going to fry them in, you get that ready. Grab your pot, put in about 2 to 3 inches of oil. Okay. And then I'm working with a portable induction top here. So I'm going to start to warm mine up only because this takes longer to work with. And you need to make sure that your oil, okay, is at a very hot temperature, okay, to one, get them nice and crispy quickly. They're not going to sit in there for more than about 90 seconds max, depending on how big your cannoli mold and shape is, okay? It's a very thin dough once we roll it out, so it's basically in and out, okay? So it's going to go in. You're lightly going to turn them a little bit so that they get cooked all evenly. And once you see that it's starting to blister, you know how cannolis have that little blister. Sometimes it looks like the blisters pop. You know that it's ready and good to go and to take them out, okay? And that is due to one, the marsala wine and the lard or the butter that you're using in your dough and the high temperature of the oil, okay? So you guys can go ahead and get that ready. I'm going to do that as well and bring it over, okay?
Help me this day take over my income. He was my way when this person like our week and all the work.
All right, so I got my oil here, okay? I'm going to turn on my element and I'm going to let it get hot because this takes longer, as I said, okay? All right. Hopefully today this doesn't slide on me. If those who know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I did a class one day and my pot slid off. Thank God it wasn't hot oil and it was just boiling water. So guys, safety, okay? Practice safety, always safety, very important, okay? Also, you want to get your tongs ready, okay? You're going to use these, okay? These might be a little hard, okay? So if you've never made these before and you feel that you might crack your cannoli shells with this, okay? You can also use a large fork, okay? And then what you will do is this, okay? Which is also why you need to leave space, some silver portion of your mold when you're covering it with the dough, okay? You can gently slide in the fork, see? The prongs of the fork into the mold to help turn it over, okay? As it's frying, all right? So you can use a huge fork or you can use your tongs. Just be super gentle with the tongs, okay? You also want to get a baking sheet ready, a cookie sheet lined with with paper towels. So that way, when you take out the cannolis, you're gonna put them here, so that way you can drain and absorb any extra oil, okay? And then at the same time, you're also going to use this to pop your molds out of your cannoli shells that are cooked, okay? So I only have 4 shells. If you have a whole bunch of shells, okay, you can obviously do more at a time, okay? Otherwise, you're going to have to cook a few at a time, pop up the shells, and then rewrap and so forth on, okay?
Lisa,
Molds are only sold in packages of 4 to 6, unless you're an avid collector of cannoli molds and you have 16 of them, then you know what? That's less work for you after, okay? So my
Lisa,
oil is heating, okay?
Lisa, what did you say you need to take them off the mold?
Okay, so to take them off the mold, you're just gonna, when you take them out of the pot, okay, you're just going to use your hands to take them off the mold. So you need to let them cool down a little bit. Or if you're an expert pro, okay, what you do is you grab a dishcloth, okay, you gently hold the cannoli here in one hand and then use the other end to push it out, okay?
Okay.
So that comes with experience. The key though is not to let your cannoli get too cold before you pop it out, okay? Because when it's still hot, it still might be a little bit more pliable still and easier to pop it out than when it's fully cold. When it's cold, it might shrink a bit and hold onto the mold, okay? So you don't want to do that. Okay, so I'm gonna go get my dough. Okay, it hasn't been a full 30 minutes yet. Okay, but I just want to show you guys how to start rolling it out. Okay. So let me just make sure that this is warming up. Yep, it's warming up. Okay, perfect. All right. So Valentina, as you asked before, that it was a little lumpy, right? Mine was a little lumpy too, but now that it's rested, okay, see, it's a lot more smooth, okay? If you put your hand in, it's smooth, okay? So you're gonna get your dough, take it out of the wrap, okay? And you're going to gently flour your surface, okay? Because right now, the dough has rested, okay? So it's gonna be, it might be slightly sticky, and you don't want it to stick to your board completely. Just dust the flour on, okay? I like to go like this, okay? And I am going to cut my dough in half. I'm gonna work with it half at a time because the dough needs to be rolled out, okay? Very thin, okay? About 0.5 millimeter in thickness, okay? So now, alternatively, okay, if you have a pasta machine, a lot of people will roll out the dough with the pasta machine, okay? The reason why I'm not suggesting the pasta machine today is because if this is your first time, the best way to learn is by playing with the dough, touching it, okay? People best learn recipes when you can touch, feel, see, and smell, okay? So once you've done this recipe a few times and you feel comfortable and confident with it, then by all means, okay, you can use a pasta machine and you would use it on the thinnest setting of your pasta machine, all right? So I'm going to roll it out, okay? And it's gonna pull back a bit, that's fine, okay? That's because my dough, I didn't let it rest for the full 30 minutes, but that's because I want to show you guys, okay, what to do in advance so that's not stop, go, especially when you're frying, okay? You're going to have to focus on your frying, okay? And then flip it over, okay? Okay, so it's sticking a little. I'm going to add a little bit more flour. Okay, and this is going to take some time to roll it out, okay, to the thickness that you need it to be, okay? Because like I said, 0.5 millimeter, it's pretty thin, okay? Cannoli shells aren't overtly thick, okay? They're very thin. They look thick when you see them because it's bubbled up, right? From when you cooked it, right? It gets blistery, and that blistery effect makes it look super thick, okay? And you're just gonna rotate it around so you do it evenly, okay? And whatever scraps of dough can be reworked, okay? So once you cut out your shape, save that scrap, put it aside in the plastic wrap so it doesn't get dried out. And you can work with it again until you used it all up, okay?
Lisa, my dough's really bouncing back. I think I need to let it rest a little bit longer.
So let yours rest a little bit more. Mine is too, but like I said, for the purpose of this, okay? I just want to show you guys how to do this so that you can focus on me right now, what I'm doing, and not have to roll and look at me at the same time, okay? So that way you guys can just study how I'm doing it. You can take some mental notes. You can write some notes. I also record my lessons, guys. So if you want me to send you the video so that you can look back on it, okay, I'll send you the link, okay? I post it onto my private YouTube channel. No one can see them other than the people I give the link to, which is only my students, and that's for privacy reasons, okay? Because I know you don't want complete strangers seeing you guys, right? And I don't blame you. Okay. So mine is actually, okay, pretty thin right now. And I know this because I can start to see my markings on my board, okay? My beautiful custom-made board, which is why I had it made, so that I can tell how thick or thin something is once I can see my markings, okay?
Lisa, the dough smells so good.
It's that masala wine. That's what makes it smell delicious, and that's what makes it nice and crispy. Okay, guys, so mine is pretty thin right now. Okay, it's good to go. All right, So I'm gonna test out a small piece, okay, with my 3-inch, okay? I believe that my 3-inch should be perfect for this, because then after, once you cut out your circular disc of dough that you're gonna use to wrap around here, you're gonna, before you can wrap it around on the mold, okay, what you're going to do is get the rolling pin and roll out that circular disc of dough slightly so it becomes a little bit elongated, okay? And I'm gonna show you why.
Lisa, can you go too thin?
Yeah, you could go too thin where it's gonna crumble and crack if you try and take out the mold, okay?
Okay.
All right. So guys, I'm gonna show you something right now, okay?
My oil burned. Darn it.
Okay. So you see how my 3-inch is just a little bit tinier than this here. It doesn't overlap. But that's perfect. And why is it perfect? Because now I have to get this piece of dough, okay? And I gotta roll it a little bit so it becomes like an oval shape and not circular, okay? So now you have an oval shape, see? Okay? Now I'm gonna get it, and you're gonna get your egg white ready, okay? So you can use egg white if you're one of those people who don't really like egg white, or you're about, not wasting egg yolks and stuff. Totally cool. You can use water, okay? So now I'm gonna show you by doing what I did, okay? You see how it overlaps now, okay? I don't know if you can see clearly, okay? All right, so the 3-inch mold was perfect for my cannoli shape, okay? So now that I have it here, I'm gonna grab just a little bit, okay, of my egg white, and I'm just going to brush it, okay, a little bit on the edge here, okay? And then I'm gonna grab my thing and push down, okay, so that it closes, okay? And that's gonna help to seal it. Now, another thing as well, okay, is you want to flare out the ends a little bit. So you're going to get the ends, okay, and you're going to flare them out a little bit like this, okay? And this is to prevent the cannoli mold from getting stuck and not being able to slip out, so that the ends are a little bit flared, okay? So you're going to flare them out a little bit, okay? And I'm going to come and show you exactly what I did, okay? A little close up for you. Okay, so I'm flaring it out like this, okay? They're going like that, okay? Just a little bit. It'll make it easier to slip the cannoli mold out after when it's time, okay? So that's one done, okay? My oil's not hot enough yet, so I'm going to keep going with the rest, okay? So does anyone have any questions? Does this make any sense to you? Is there anything that you're concerned or worried about? Just let me know, okay? Okay, so again, I rolled it out, okay? I'm gonna put it there, right here. And I'm gonna get a little bit. Okay, and fold it over. Okay. Push down so it closes. And then flare it out a bit, okay? So my mold is making mini cannoli molds, okay? Sorry, little mini cannolis, okay? Your mold might be bigger, so, you'll have bigger cannolis, okay? That's my second one there, okay? And we're gonna keep going, like I said, okay? If your oil is hot enough already, okay, you can pop them in and start to fry them if you feel comfortable enough, or if you want to wait for me, okay, you can wait for me.
How high should the temperature in the pot be? Because we have a candy thermometer on it.
Okay, so 375, okay?
375.
375.
375. You have a candy thermometer, and you want to use that to, gauge the temperature of your oil to make sure it's perfect. Okay, 375.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Clear it out. Okay. Now I'm going to test one and put it in my oil and see if it's ready. I'm going to play Russian roulette with my oil right now, guys. Okay, I'm going to do the first one that I did, put that in. So I don't want it to let it sit out too long. Okay. Just going to double check my flaring and make sure it's good. Okay. I'm going to put it in. Okay. Okay, guys. All right, so it's not super hot yet, okay, but it's getting there. Okay, so I'm gonna wait a little bit. Okay, in the meantime, you start cutting out more of your circles so that it's ready, okay? So that way the process goes by faster, okay? Just like a nonna, they work super fast. That comes from experience. And that comes from, being detailed oriented and having to use your time efficiently, right? You don't want to just stand here like, oh, okay, I'll wait until the cannoli's done and then I'll roll some more dough. No, okay? So you got to use your time, okay? So I cut out some more so I have those ready so I can work at a faster pace. Okay? And then as I was saying, my scraps, what I'm going to do is get my scraps, okay? And put them back in the the plastic wrap, okay? And then what this is gonna do, okay, is help for it to get soft again, all right? It's gonna build up a little bit of slight sweat and condensation from, the natural heat around you, your lights, okay? Just sitting out in the plastic helps to make it sweat a bit, so then it'll be easier to mix it after and to keep using it till you have no more, okay? So now I'm just going to slightly turn this a bit. Okay, it's getting warm enough. Okay, that was my test one. So if you guys don't have a candy thermometer to gauge the temperature of your oil, you can do a test cannoli. Okay, just throw it in and you can usually tell when it's ready. Okay, so mine's going to need a few more minutes. Okay, and you'll know when it's ready because you're going to see that's going to bounce up and it's going to go and you're going to see the skin of the cannoli blister. Okay. That's how you know that one, the oil is super hot enough, and two, your cannoli is ready to come out, okay? Once it starts to blister. Okay? Okay, it's starting to get there, all right? In the meantime, while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to elongate the rest of my circles, okay? So that I have them ready to go. Okay. If you have a deep fryer, deep fryer works good too. Unfortunately, air fryers don't work for this guy. So I know air frying is a trend right now. Air frying does not work for cannolis, guys. Okay, so I'm sorry. If you guys have an like a deep fryer, you guys can use that next time. Okay. Just gotta be careful with a deep fryer because those get super, super hot. So it'll probably take a lot less time. Okay. You gotta keep an eye with that because you don't want to burn your cannolis. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. Okay. So I'm gonna take this out and show you guys. Okay. So this was a test one. It didn't fully blister, okay? And I'll show you what I mean, okay? See, it didn't fully blister. It should have blisters, okay? If it's not blistering, your oil is not hot enough, okay? So I'm gonna put that there because that was my test cannoli, okay? And I'm gonna slip this out gently, okay? All right, and it's out, okay? And then, okay, just put it to a side. I'll be right back. Have some paper towels on hand, okay? You're gonna have paper towels on hand so that you can wipe the oil from the outside, okay? And then you proceed, okay, with rolling. Okay. Has anybody started to fry the cannoli yet? How's it going? Good. Good. Are your cannolis blistering? Okay. Guys, my induction thing here is giving me some issues. Okay. I'm just gonna put this one in to keep it as a test. Okay. A trick as well, guys. Okay. Something that I was taught by my nonna is always, if you want to keep whatever it is that you're frying, preventing whatever it is that you're frying from burning, grab a small piece of dough, put that in the oil, okay, and always keep that there. And that's going to be your burnt piece. So what happens is that the oil will attack that and only burn that and not your other stuff, okay? So I'm not sure if you guys know about that little trick, okay? That works as well. Okay, so now my oil is getting there. Now it's getting hot. The way my kitchen is laid out, guys, if I were to use my regular stove, you wouldn't be fully able to see me. My back would be to you guys. And I don't think you want to see my back, okay? So that's why I'm using this here.
It smells delicious, and
Yes.
it's frying well. It's bubbled a little bit. It kind of looks thicker now. How do I know when it's ready?
Okay, so once it's fully blistered, okay, it should be blistered, okay, and it should be rising to the top and kind of bouncing, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
What I would suggest is take one out, right? So if you want to do a test one, like I said, take it out, remove it from the shell, and gauge it, okay? See if it's crispy. If it's not so crispy, then you know you need to keep it in a little bit longer, okay? It all depends on your stove, okay? All stoves aren't made equal. Some will get hot super fast, some won't. Some barely get any hot. Depends how old it is. Depends on technology, okay, guys? So you know how your stove is best, better than I do, because you work with your stove every day, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna take this out.
How do you know when to take them off the mold?
Okay, so if it still feels a little hot but not too hot, pop them out. Don't wait until it's fully cold, okay? Because then it might stick and it might not come out, or it might clasp onto it, because as it gets cold, it tightens up, okay? I'm gonna put in my other ones. Oh yeah, baby, it's getting there now. I'm one of those people, guys, I'm very impatient. So when something doesn't happen right away, I get annoyed. Okay. And another key point here as well, guys, try not to put in too many at a time, okay? And the reason for that is when you have too many things in hot oil, okay, it's drastically going to drop down the temperature and it's going to cool it down, okay? And then you're going to have to wait for it to come back up, okay? And then what that does is whatever it is that you're frying soaks up oil. So if you ever have anything and you find that it's super oily, it's because the temperature dropped and you had to wait for it to come back up again, okay? And there was too much in it, too much overcrowding, okay? So you always don't want to put too many, okay? Oh yeah, this is getting nice. So flip it over, okay, guys? So it doesn't get burnt. Okay, I'm gonna do 2 at a time in here because the way my stovetop is working, okay? I don't want to drop down the temperature too much, okay?
Lisa, what was the oil temperature again?
375.
Fahrenheit?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, see guys, this is bubbling. Has anybody taken one out yet? Or have a few? Are they nice and bubbly? They got nice big blisters, okay? If you guys are willing to spare a shell that you've already taken out, crack it, see how it is, okay? The texture, how it tastes, okay? That's how you become familiar with stuff, how you know next time what to do or not do, okay? So I'm just gonna move my tongs here, okay? And this one is good to go. I'm gonna pop it out, okay? And then let it cool down a bit, and then I'm gonna show you guys. Okay, I'm gonna put another one in. Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. Okay. So you're gonna have to, as you keep doing more and more, you're gonna find that your oil may get super hot, and you're gonna have to work even faster. Okay. But it's better to have hot oil than cold oil. Okay. So now that that's warm enough, pop it out. Pop that out. This one's a little stuck. That's okay. Okay, guys. So there's some blistering there. Okay, and it's gonna, as it cools down. This one's stuck. That's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna dry my molds here, and I'm gonna keep going, keep turning. So as you can see, guys, you're multitasking. Okay, and you're gonna have to keep an eye. Okay, remember to turn them so that they don't burn on one end, and that way they get evenly cooked. Okay. Oh yeah, very good. Okay. I'm gonna try this mold, and I'm gonna keep going.
Can I just ask something?
Yes.
Okay, so ours are cooking up nicely, but they're sticking to the mold. Is there a reason for that?
So try not to wrap it too tight, okay? You might be wrapping it too tight, so wrap it a little loose, okay? So that way it kind of like feels
Slides
like it
out.
may fall out, okay? But it won't fall out, okay?
Okay, perfect. I'll try that. Thank
All
you.
right. You're welcome. So guys, if you find that it's sticking to your molds, okay, try and wrap them a little more loose. That means you're wrapping them too tight, okay?
Lisa, just a question.
Yeah.
I've molded them. I did my first 4. They're really little, so I'm assuming that's because, yeah, that's like, pretty small. And they're fine. They bubbled. Everything looks good. The only thing is my molds are taking forever to cool off.
Okay.
They're super hot.
They're super hot. Okay, see, that comes with, again, experience, being able to work with them when they're still hot, okay?
I don't mind it. I just don't know if I'm allowed to put more fresh dough on a hot roller.
Okay, so you don't want it to be so hot that like if you're touching it, you can't even hold it. If it's hot enough where you can hold it and work with it, then yes, you can do that.
Okay.
But when you're working and putting the dough around it, don't do it so tight, because then what happens is that heat is gonna get the dough and kind of make it so soft that it's gonna stick to it. Okay.
Right. Okay. Cool. Okay. Awesome. Thank
So
you.
you're gonna have to wrap them a little looser.
Okay.
Okay. So guys, that's another thing. If you find that they're sticking, okay, wrap them a little looser, okay? And that also means that your mold might still be way too hot, okay? And with the heat as well, you know, when you work heat and dough, things stick, right? So you're going to have to, okay, not wrap them as tight. Okay, so I'm gonna let that cool down a bit, and I am going to put this in. Okay, and you keep going, guys. Keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So because my molds, okay, are making mini cannoli, I'm gonna end up with way more than 16. Okay, so if you guys don't want to have a whole bunch of cannoli, okay, you guys can freeze the dough. Okay, this dough is freezer friendly. Okay, I suggest though when you freeze it, okay, you push it down, okay, and make it thin for a few reasons. One, it doesn't take up space in your freezer. Two, it takes less time to defrost, and when you defrost it, it's going to defrost evenly. Okay, and if you defrost it, do not defrost it in water. Defrost it on your counter. Okay, wrap it in parchment paper first, okay? Then put it in plastic wrap and then put it in a Ziploc bag, okay? To prevent any freezer burn, okay? And it can stay frozen for up to a month, okay? You can even keep it in your fridge overnight. So if you don't want to do them all today, you want to make some fresh tomorrow, you can keep the dough in your fridge, okay, for up to a day. Okay, so that's another option for you as well. Oh, hot. Okay, so it's a little hot and it's a little stuck because it's hot. Okay, so I did what I told you guys not to do and I wrapped them a little too tight. Okay, so I'm gonna have to break this one. Oh, that came out perfect. Okay, you might, if you can, if you even gently squeeze it a bit, you can get it to come out without cracking as well. Okay, guys, but you have to know your strength. Okay. So I'm gonna let those cool down a bit because those are super hot. And like I said, you don't want your dough to stick, okay? And you're also gonna have to wrap them a little less tight now that they're hot, okay? Because as you keep using them, they're just gonna keep getting hotter and hotter. Okay, so I'm gonna take this out and let it drain. Okay, guys, any complaints? Anything you're not happy about? Let me know. Okay. So wrap it just a little bit more lightly. Okay, and a little egg. Push down. Okay. Flare it out. Okay. Drop it in. Go. Okay. And you keep going, guys. Originally, okay, these were made using bamboo, okay? That's why they're called cannoli, because bamboo is canna, and then they added noli to the end to it, okay, guys? So these were originally made using bamboo forms, okay? Till this day in Italy, okay? You'll find them still using bamboo forms, okay? Those are very hard to get because even a lot of manufacturers now, it's more economical for them to use, make and sell steel molds, okay? It's easier for them. If you guys can get bamboo molds, you guys are golden, okay? Those are very hard to come by, especially here. If you try and look for them here in North America, good luck. Okay. Ooh, hot. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Perfect. Where's my spoon? Oh, okay. All right, so that's done. Take it out. Okay, sometimes even when you go to the bakery and you buy your cannoli, you see some, like I said, the dough is darker, some dough is lighter. Okay, some recipes will ask for cocoa powder, some won't ask for cocoa powder. So if they're darker in color, okay, as well, it's because they used cocoa powder. All right. Cannoli recipes is as wide as meatball recipes and nonas that exist. Okay, guys. So traditionally they did use cocoa. Okay. I like the cocoa. I find it gives it that nice, subtle taste as well with the Marsala wine. And it gives it a nice, beautiful color. Okay, so we're gonna flare. Okay, drop it in. Next one. Okay. And remember to turn. Okay. And again, as I said, your oil is just going to keep getting hotter and hotter. Okay, so it's going to eventually take less time. Okay, so you got to keep an eye because you don't want them to burn. Okay, if you find that it's getting too hot and it's not giving you enough time in between to do what you got to do, you can lower your dial on your stove as long as you maintain the temperature of 375. Okay, if you have a thermometer. See, okay guys, so you can even try and take them out like a screw. This is still super hot, but I'm used to that. Okay. And turn. I want it to burn. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to take this out. So now it's taking me less and less time. Okay, you guys might have to change your paper towel as well as it starts to absorb the oil. Okay, you don't want to have your cannoli sitting on oil absorbed paper towels. Okay, there. Slightly dry them. And I'm on to my last circle of dough, but I have more dough to roll out. Okay. Okay. How's everybody doing? Everyone's okay? Questions, concerns? Is it working out? Is it sticking? Did you try one? You guys are a good bunch, man. You guys are doing good. Sometimes people I like questions. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes people have a lot of questions. They're so frazzled. You guys are like experts. You're pros. That's good.
I actually tried not tightening it, and it's working out. It's sliding off.
Okay.
One actually totally came off, so it's a big puff, which
Okay.
is we're still gonna eat it. That's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
You guys tried tasting one yet? Okay. Whew,
We tried one. It's very, very good. It's delicious.
Okay. Perfect. Glad to hear. Okay, I want you guys to be happy with what it is that you're making and with what it is that you're learning. Okay, this is still hot. So I'm going to try with my towel like I showed you guys. Okay, you can gently use your towel, but you have to know your strength, okay? Because you don't want to crack it.
I think I've burned almost all of them.
Almost?
I
Okay,
think
so
I've
maybe,
burned almost all of them.
all right, so you can try lowering your temperature to maybe 375. Okay, I mean, sorry, 350.
Oh, 350.
Okay, yeah, try lowering it to 350 instead of 375 and see if that helps. Also, you might be keeping them in too long, okay? So maybe try taking them out sooner. That's another thing you can try. where I put my spoon here, my fork. Okay, guys. So that's why, like I said, you know, you're going to have to. You can't always go exactly by what a recipe says, okay? Because not everything is the same for everybody. Not everything is created the way we're not created equal. Stoves, pots, temperatures are not created equal as well when it comes to baking, okay, guys? So I'm done mine. I'm going to hold one up and show you guys one, okay? So I'm going to come around. Okay. So can you guys see the nice blistering? Okay, it's puffed up. That's what you're looking for, okay, guys? All right. So those are the cannolis so far. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 10, 11 so far, okay?
I just want to show one
Yeah.
that we made. It's a little bit, well, yeah, it did bubble.
Yeah.
And it looks good. It looks good. The first one we made, the oil was way too hot and it burned automatically.
Okay.
Hot.
Yeah.
But
So that's, like I was saying, guys, you have to play around and figure out what works for you and adjust, okay? So again, what, like I said, you know, with a recipe, you can't always go by with what you're given, okay? So yeah, the steps in the procedure, how to mix it, you know, how to form it and roll it out. But when it comes to heat, that's something that you're going to have to gauge and figure out and play around with. You know, you put in a test cannoli. That's why you only put in one, see how it works. If it's not cooking as fast as it should, you have to increase your temperature. If it's burning too fast, you need to lower your temperature, okay? So there's many factors, and that's why I tell people when you get a recipe, always take it with a grain of salt, and you're gonna have to use your judgment, okay? So this is hot. Okay, and I'm going to, see, gently take it out. There we go. Okay, guys? So if you have bigger cannoli forms, okay, you're going to have less. Mine are small. They're making mini ones. So I'm going to end up having more. You might already be done with your dough. I still have lots of dough, okay? So I'm going to do just a little bit more, okay? I'm going to roll out a little bit more and just keep going, you know, I can give some away. And just keep going, guys. You know, there's nothing better than when you make something yourself, you know. It's pride, it's satisfaction, right? You can say that you did it and you enjoy it more because you know the amount of work you put into it and the love, right? I find things always taste better when you make them yourself, homemade. You have a greater sense and of appreciation for it. And what we're also doing, guys, is we're carrying on, okay, what our ancestors did, right? If you're Italian, if you're not Italian, you're carrying on what other people did, okay? We're helping to preserve history, tradition, okay, so things don't get lost, especially now, you know, with the convenience of electronics and gadgets, you know, a lot of things aren't being made the way they used to be made authentically, you know, contraptions, you know, like they make cannoli forms in cannoli shells in factories that you can buy pre-made, right? Which is good, that's fine, right? You know, if you're short for time, because right now we live a lifestyle that we're always on the go, go, go and convenience because we feel that we're short on time, right? But when you do something like this, guys, you're taking time for yourself to breathe, to relax, right? To enjoy life and the finer things, you know. For me, I find this to be very relaxing. You know, then again, I enjoy doing this stuff. If you're someone who doesn't enjoy doing this stuff, you might be very frustrated right now. But I always tell people, whenever you try something, especially for the first time, you need to go into it with love and an open mind, okay? It's not so much about getting it perfect, okay? Especially if it's your first time. It's about learning, enjoying the process, and absorbing it, and getting the taste, okay? Because something can look perfect, but it doesn't taste good, okay? There's no use in having something that looks good or looks like it turned out perfect but tastes bad, okay? I always tell people it doesn't matter what it looks like as long as it tastes good. So even if your cannolis are not perfectly formed, okay, as long as they taste good, that's all that matters, okay? It's the taste, okay? A lot of times I see these nice, beautiful dishes. I've even experienced, I go to a restaurant, I get a nice, beautiful dish, and I'm like, oh, this looks so pretty. And then I try it only to be disappointed. Oh, I'm like, I like things a little more rustic because I know when it's rustic like that, the love went in there. And it wasn't about perfection, it was about taste, okay? You may agree with me, you may not agree with me. You may be like, this lady's talking too much. Who knows? Okay. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do whatever I have left here and then my scraps. I'm going to assemble it and use it for another day. So that way we can begin to fill the cannoli, okay? Which isn't hard to do, okay? I just want to show you guys how to fill it. All right. And, decorating is always the easy part. Okay. I'm just going to mush my leftover dough together, okay? Also, if you have the mini cannoli forms like I did, you can, and you don't want to have leftover dough, you don't want to make as much, you don't want to freeze your dough, you can easily half the recipe, okay? There's nothing wrong with ever having halving a recipe, okay? There's no shame in that, okay, guys? Especially, it depends how many people live in your household, right? If you're going to be serving these to guests or not, if you're giving them away. Because I know that I find it hard to eat only one or two as suggested by some people. I could probably eat all of them, but we don't want to gain any more COVID weight. Okay. I'm just going to do these up, guys, and then I'm going to start to fill them. Okay. Once I'm done cooking these. Okay. When you fill your cannolis, you always want to make sure that it's super cooled down. Okay. You never want to fill them when they're hot. All right. Also, when you fill your cannolis, today I'm not going to suggest that you fill them all. I suggest that you fill a few that you're going to eat to try within the next hour or so. Okay. Because cannoli shells need to be crispy. Okay. If you fill all your cannoli shells and you're not going to enjoy them within the next hour or so, the shell starts to get soggy. Okay. And then that ruins your cannoli shell, right? The ricotta will make them soggy. That's why if you go to a bakery, a good authentic bakery that makes really good cannoli will fill them on demand, okay? Sure, they'll have some in the window, for display and stuff like that. But if they really care about you as a customer, okay, they'll ask how many you want and they'll be like, okay, we'll be right back. And they're going to go to the back and they're going to fill them for you fresh, okay? That's how it should be done, okay? Filled on the spot, fresh, to ensure, okay, that your cannoli is not soggy. All right, there's nothing worse than a soggy cannoli. Okay. Oh, it's getting a little smoky in here.
Mommy?
Yes, babe? I love you too, my love.
What?
Okay, gonna take this one out. It's good to go. Gonna take this one out. It's good to go. Okay. I'm gonna put the next one in. Okay. Does anybody's eyes start to get watery when it starts to get a little smoky? Frying over oil. I find the longer I'm standing over something that I'm frying, my eyes start to get a little watery from standing over it after a while. I don't know because my eyes are sensitive. Okay. I don't like that. Okay, just a little bit longer. Okay, so this is good. Take it out. Okay, now it's taking less and less time because my oil is super hot. Okay, it slid right out. It's still hot, slid it out. Okay, I'm gonna let it cool down a bit. And I'm gonna keep going. And once I'm done here, like I said, I'm gonna show you guys how to fill them.
Yeah, me some.
Okay, put that in, done. Okay, put this in. Oh, that one fell out. I didn't close it tight enough. So I'm just gonna take this out. I'm gonna put it there. And I'm gonna remove the molds. Let it cool down. Okay. All right, guys. I'm almost done. Okay. Is anybody done frying all their cannoli dough? Okay. Flare, flare, flare. Don't forget to flare. Remember not to do it too tight now that your molds are hot. Okay. Okay. Whew. Okay. All right. And then I have one more, and I'm done. And then we'll move on to filling them, okay? Just so I can show you guys what to do. Oh, watery eyes, okay. Okay. All right, one. Two. last one. Matthew, can you come here for a second, both?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You want to give mommy a huggy?
No, thank you.
No, thank you. You're sneaky. You already know.
I don't worry with it.
Okay, so I'm done that, guys. I'm gonna get this here ready. I'm gonna get my piping bag and scissors. This. Okay. Okay. When you're done frying, remember to close your oil, okay? And then I'm gonna move my pot aside somewhere to prevent any accidents from happening. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my pot, I'm gonna move it. That way we can avoid accidents happening right now.
Hey, Lisa,
Yes.
do you have any tricks for how to keep the oil temperature steady?
Okay, so as I was saying, if you have a small piece of dough, okay, get that and drop it in just a small little round ball, okay? And that's gonna help, okay, to prevent the other ones from burning and keeping it steady. And that's also gonna help you gauge how high your oil is, okay? Also, do not put too many in at one time, okay? So if you need to, only put 2 at a time, okay? So that you're keeping it even and consistent. So if you started with 2, keep 2, okay? If you started with 3, keep 3, okay? If it's too hot, just lower it, okay? So that's the only way you can go is by looking in color, okay? I'm gonna be right back, guys. I'm just gonna go move my oil. I don't want any accidents. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna move this out of the way so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm gonna give you guys, some time. You let me know when you're ready, okay? And then I will show you guys how we're gonna fill them and decorate them. In the meantime, I'm gonna clean up my workspace. Okay, if you need me, just holler. So let's take this out. Let's take this out. Oh. Okay. Grab my molds, grab my rolling pin, all this stuff away here. Okay. All right. Okay, so guys, did you guys finish your dough? You're still frying? You let me know. Okay. All right. So I also wanted to add, okay, that if you wanted to add a little light sprinkle of cinnamon into your ricotta, you can. That's also common and traditional. Okay. If you like cinnamon, and some people are impartial to it. Okay. So what you do, okay, once your cannoli are fully cooled down, okay, you're gonna grab your bowl of your nice ricotta cream, okay, give it a stir, okay, and then you're gonna put it into a piping bag, okay, don't cut it just yet, okay. If you don't have a piping bag, you can use a Ziploc bag, and what you would do is just push it into one corner of the Ziploc bag, okay, and that easily becomes a piping bag, okay. And you're going to spoon in some of the ricotta mixture. Don't put it all in because you need to leave some room at the top to be able to push down and pipe, okay. So you might have to refill your bag. It's better to refill your bag than to overfill your bag. It might burst, okay. And just push it down, okay. I can put a little bit more in mine because it's pretty big, okay. It all depends on the size of your piping bag as well, okay. Push down, okay. Then you're going to grab the top and you're going to twist the bag like this, okay. Then you're going to cut a hole, okay. So you need to look at the size of your cannoli shell, okay, so that you know that you can fit it into pipe, okay. So I need to cut it about there, okay. Oh, sorry guys. All right, so I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna eye where I had it, okay. I'm gonna put it here to the side, okay. And then I'm gonna push down, and you see it's starting to come out, okay. Then get your good hand, okay, and you're gonna stick the piping bag into the shell, okay, and you're gonna fill one end, and then you're gonna flip it, and you're gonna go to the other end, okay, and there you go, okay. All right, and then you can decorate them, all right. So what you can do, traditionally, they'll put pistachio one end or your dark chocolate shavings, and then on the other end, they'll put candied fruit. That is the most authentic and traditional way in Sicily, okay? The only reason why I didn't ask you guys to go get candied fruit is because right now, after the holidays, finding candied fruit is super difficult because it gets sold out. Because of the holidays, people make their traditional, panettones, fruit cakes. I wasn't going to send you guys on a mission. I couldn't find it, so I'm pretty sure you guys wouldn't be able to find it, okay? So they would normally put like a slice of, candied orange peel, lemon, or maraschino cherry, and the other end is pistachios. You could do one end with just pistachios, the other end with chocolate, both ends with chocolate, both ends with pistachio, whatever makes you happy, okay? And you're just going to put them on. I'm going to do a little bit of pistachio and chocolate, okay? Then I'm going to leave some plain because, different tastes in my house, right? And then there you go, okay? So now, when you go to the bakeries, you're going to see some that have mini chocolate chips, okay? That is a modern thing, okay? First off, we'll start with the fact that chocolate did not come to Europe, okay, until, Mexico was discovered. They brought back the chocolate and they brought it back to the queen. Sorry, they brought it back to the queen in Spain, who liked it. And from there, it migrated throughout Europe, okay? So when cannoli were first invented in the Roman ancient times, there was no chocolate, okay? So we're going to get that out of the way. Second off, even once chocolate was introduced to Europe, okay, it was basically raw cocoa powder. It was bitter, okay? So dark chocolate was most common, all right? And they used that to decorate the ends. Chocolate chips are a modern invention, so that is not anywhere near being authentic, okay? That's why I did not tell you guys to get mini chocolate chips or any kind of chocolate chips, okay? For the purpose of trying to teach you guys the authenticity of cannoli, all right? Okay, and you're just going to keep going and filling them, okay? In the future, if you want to use the chocolate chips, by all means, go ahead. Okay, I'm not going to, tell you guys what to do or not do. But for, like I said, for this lesson, okay, I wanted to keep it, as authentic as possible, so you guys can learn about the history. Okay, it's very important, when you're learning something, to know about its origins and the true history. That way you get a deeper sense of appreciation and knowledge for what it is that you're making. Sorry, that frying really made my eyes and my senses go off. So right now I sound a little nasally. Okay. And you're just going to keep going until you've done your cannoli. And like I said, okay, only fill the amount that you're going to consume within the next hour or so, 2 hours max. Okay. Because then they get soggy. Okay. So your ricotta filling, okay, can stay in the fridge for up to 2 days. Cannoli shells, you can make them all in advance if you want. You keep them in an airtight container sealed for up to 1 week, okay? And that's it, guys. You just keep going. Does anyone have any questions, any concerns, anything you're unsure of? Please, again, feel free to ask, even after the lesson. If there's something that you think about after the lesson, you can always email me. You can send me a message, and I'll be happy to answer you. Like I always tell everyone who participates in my classes, once the lesson is over, I'm still made available to you guys. I don't just say, okay, your lesson's over, that's it, forget about it, okay? A good teacher will always be there for you and help you to grow and master later on in life, okay? So if you have any questions, always, please do not hesitate to contact me, all right? Just like a nonna always hovering over your shoulder, that's what I'm here for, Okay? The same way you could pick up the phone and call your nonna and ask her is the same way that you guys can message me. And I'll be more than happy, okay, to help you guys as best as I can, okay? Even if it's not a course that you've taken with me, if it's something else, a recipe you're doing, you have any questions, anything, I like helping people. I think, that we're here to help each other, okay? To be the best that we can. Because when one person's successful, we're all successful, right? Okay, guys, so I'm just going to show you how my lovely cannoli look, okay? My little mini cannoli, all right? Okay? All right? And then you can sprinkle some powdered sugar on top, okay? Very lightly. Okay, you don't want to put too much. Okay, just to, give it that little kiss. And that's it, guys. All right. So, guys, before I let you go, if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself. And I'll take any questions right now, okay? No need to be shy. If you're done and you just want to exit the lesson, you're more than welcome to exit the lesson. However, before you go, I do want to say thank you for participating and for joining and for trusting me to teach you how to make this ancient, authentic delicacy, this lovely pastry. And as I always say to everybody, from my soul in the kitchen to yours, con tanto, tanto amore, grazie mille. And I hope you guys enjoy this and, teach your family how to make them as well. Okay, guys?
Lisa,
Yes.
After I pipe them, just from the perspective of how it looks,
Yes.
I noticed on your photo that I can just sprinkle some pistachios on top and then a little bit of chocolate on top of that.
Yeah, on the end. So you can leave them plain. You can put pistachio on one end. You can put chocolate on the other end. Pistachios on both ends. Whatever you want it to look.
We'll
Okay?
have a little bit of so the filling has to go right to the edge then.
Yes, that is correct.
Amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much, Lisa. Nice to
You're
meet
welcome.
everybody.
All right, bye, Valentina.
Ciao.
Thank you so much. This is awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining. Take care, Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Talk to you
You're
later.
welcome. Bye, guys. Ciao a tutti. Ci vediamo.
Thank you. It was fun.
Bye.
Hey, Lisa.
Hi, Pia. How did it go?
I'm finally getting the frying right. At first it wasn't hot enough because I thought you meant Celsius. And then it was too hot. And now I think I finally have it where it's.
Thank you so much for the class.
You're welcome. Take care, Jessica. Ciao.
Okay, now on the bottom right screen, you can read.
And the other thing I found, Lisa, was
Yeah.
I think I was making them too thick.
Or whatever that red thing says.
And when I make them thinner, it